Welcome to The House Files, a podcast about building a triplex in Portland, Oregon.
Which mostly exists to talk you out of doing it. So here we are once again.
So we had a whole episode that was called Colors Are Hard, and it was about picking cabinet colors. And I think we opened that episode by saying that Aaron had spent like 3 hours on the phone with his mom. Little did we know that was not the end of cabinet decisions.
Little did we know that we still had quite a lot to do. Well, also my mom had a lot to do because she is doing a lot of this actual work.
Yeah. She is really putting in the most for us. We have a lot of cabinets, like a lot of cabinets.
Yeah. And this covers the 3 kitchens. So, of course, there's cabinets in the 3 kitchens, but it also then is the entryway for our entryway, your office, the bookshelf in the living room, and our second kitchen wet bar, and our closet.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of cabinets. It doesn't even include bathrooms.
Yeah, that's notable. The bathrooms that's just a whole different project.
Which is a little stressful, but we'll
get there.
We'll get there eventually. Last time we were really picking cabinet colors, but then what ended up happening was that your mom and your dad, just for color commentary, not as our designer, unlike your mom, but someone who knows what he's talking about, that has very strong pro-wood opinions, natural wood opinions, came over, and we thought, oh, this will be like a 45-minute final planning meeting.
It was like, come over to review the latest drawings. It
took over 4 hours. So that was a thing. And we
went through every single cabinet, like bank set of cabinets, and talked through, double check that we actually have the right size of everything that's going to be there. So all the right dimensions for all the different cabinets, choosing the colors of each one.
And turns out that includes like the outside color, the inside color, the type of finish. We had this giant box of wood that we had to go through, which was much better to do in person than it was over an iPad, I will say. As cool as it is that we can do things virtually now, it was very difficult to do. But here's the thing that I have discovered. I do not have as strong of a visual imagination as I might have thought. I don't know about you, but like I really struggle to look at a sample that's like this big and go, that's what an entire closet would look like in this.
Right.
It's really hard. Yeah. Even when you have the physical space and the sample, my brain is not that creative. So props to people that do that all the time, like architects and interior designers that just like manage to work off a couple samples and because the renders can't tell you that much either. Yeah. Like they can help put things together and like mood boards and stuff, but so I don't want to drag all of our listeners and viewers through the same 4 hours that we had because it was, I mean, my brain was like, made this sound bzz, bzz, bzz by the end of it. And I wasn't even sure I believed the things coming out of my mouth. And I've now since reversed course on one of the things I was strongly advocating for by the end.
Yeah. But let's at least like talk about each set of the cabinets and where they go and like what we're hoping for with them.
So the first like we're essentially the basics of what we're doing in the other units is that the ground floor is a U-shaped kitchen. Is that right?
Ground floor is the L-shaped kitchen.
L-shaped kitchen. We're using all wood cabinets so that they can be more easily kind of repaired or stained or fixed or something like that. And it's also a very tough, like it should stand up to the abuse that renters like ourselves put on cabinets.
Yep.
So
and it'll be a lot nicer than just the sort of laminated cheap stuff.
And way better than the laminated, which we have had no end of problems with at our current place. So, and then the second floor second rental unit kitchen is one long wall-shaped one.
Yep.
And then we'll be able to insert an island, but that island will be like a furniture island rather than like a big permanent island you can't move.
Yeah, yeah. And those are the only cabinets we're doing in those 2 units.
Yeah.
So they're just getting the kitchen cabinets. Everything else will be just like built-in closets, as built as part of the room.
Yep.
No fancy cabinets down there.
Yep. Now, all of the cabinet budget now after that comes to ours.
Yeah.
And I think our total line item is like $44,000 for cabinets, which sounds like an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
That's like almost as much as I make in a year.
Yeah.
But it's 3 units. These are long-term investments. Cabinets are really expensive, and I just keep trying to remind myself that. And also, every wall is a cabinet, which we have really taken to heart.
Mm-hmm. So let's start in the entryway. Let's start walking from the front door.
So that space is a very tall vertical space, but it's where we're going to park our bikes most of the time. And because of that, we want it to feel like a statement place because it's architecturally really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to make it just feel like a giant closet.
Right.
But it does need to be able to stand up to bikes coming in and out, the grossness that is the Pacific Northwest winter.
Hanging up our wet rain gear and coats when we come in, muddy shoes.
And the vision for that space is sort of a Pacific Northwest Japan-D vibes is what we're currently going with. So the floor is going to be like a checkerboard style, which is like kind of a traditional entryway situation. But we are going to be doing a concrete. What's it called? Concrete or cement? I can never remember.
Tile.
Concrete tile. Just because that's actually better for our climate, traction and everything. And it's going to be kind of, I think, light pink and light gray. That's
right.
Possibly.
That's the current thought.
So we wanted to pick cabinet colors that would go with it. So there's a spot to sit down and put your shoes on.
A little bench. As built as part of the cabinet thing.
Yep. And then above that, you can hang your dripping rain gear.
Yeah.
So that's like the place where things will drip.
And then the main cabinets have a place to put shoes on the bottom. And then the middle part is like a door that you would put coats and stuff into. And there's like kind of like 2 of those. There's like 2 similar looking cabinets side by side. And there's, I think, some space above that top shelf as well, or it's like a segment inside that door as well for putting stuff up high.
Yeah.
And that'll get us basically to the top of like the first floor, or actually a bit past that of the first floor because the entryway is a little bit raised off of the ground. And it'll be just underneath the window to your office, which is now framed in.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
I'm so happy that we made the choice to go with a like recycled statement window essentially, and that the perfect window was available. So essentially the window that we're using in my office is a upcycled, reclaimed, whatever hip word you want to use for it, from one of Aaron's dad's office buildings. And it's been there for like 20 years or something. But it just, it adds so much more interest to this weird space. I think it's going to look great from the inside of my office, and it's going to look really good from the entryway because it's this arched kind of situation. And my hope is to essentially have like window boxes underneath it. So we'll have some plants, so that'll kind of bring that. And the hope is that those plants will be harder for the cat to access. What color should the cabinets be? Because the cabinets are all built in there. What do we want them to look like? We went back and forth.
Yeah, we went back and forth. One thought was to go totally dark, like black, just to, I don't know, make a statement.
I think that it's too depressing in the Pacific Northwest to do all black.
And keep in mind, this is like when you open the door, it is right there. It's like the first thing you're going to see. It's like a huge, 7'6" tall wall of whatever this color is.
Yeah. So the color we ended up going with, we also found at the Benjamin Moore store, which is we were like, should we look for cheaper colors? It seems like kind of it's about how much you're going to pay at most of the big major brands of paint. So we kind of were like, well, we already went to the Benjamin Moore store. The one that we picked is called North Sea. We actually originally looked at it as maybe a kitchen cabinet color, but it didn't quite work for the space. And this, I think, is going to be good. I think it's going to be a little bit fun, but still kind of earthy. And hopefully go with the wood we're thinking about for the stair railings.
Right, which is a whole separate project.
We're going to have a whole video on staircases because it turns out there's a lot of ways to make a staircase. And also staircases have 25 parts in them.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe. We're going to have open storage for the shoes, which I'm not sure if we're going to love that or not, but I guess we'll find out. Sounds great for accessibility. Not sure it's going to look amazing. But it will remind our guests to take their shoes off.
That's true. True.
Yeah. We have a lot of coats, we have learned.
Yes. It's not all my fault.
No, I just got another coat this week, so I feel like I really am throwing stones from glass houses here if I'm making fun of how many coats you have. But at least my coats are all different colors. So that's the first of a bazillion cabinets.
Yep.
Moving along, because we could spend longer. We spent a long time on those. My office.
Walk up the stairs.
Go
around the corner, go into your office, and the whole back wall.
Insert here the inspiration picture that I have of this beautiful pink bookcase that I really wanted to go with. Reminder for people that may not remember, the theme for my office is Woodland Regency. So it's like Bridgerton meets woodland forest fairy vibes. That's what we're going for. So I really want to essentially add molding onto everything. I'm going to add panels to the walls and stuff like that, decorative molding. And I did not want wood for my office cabinets. I wanted them to be painted. It does sound like painted is a little more expensive than just natural wood stained. And what we ended up deciding, so essentially there's a setup charge for every color you paint the cabinets, and there's a bunch of other variables. That's what's kind of frustrating about this process of getting custom cabinets, is that there isn't the dealer that we're working with, your mom has to go back to them and then find out how much each possible configuration will cost.
Yeah, the pricing isn't quite like picking it out of a catalog, but although they do have this system that's literally in a catalog for the pricing, which actually might be the reason that it's complicated. It's done with these tiers, so that they don't have to reprint catalogs every 6 months when they need to change their actual pricing. So it'll be this door is in this price tier, and if you take this type of paint or this type of finish, you multiply it by this other tier, and then eventually you get to the actual dollar amount. But it's kind of like a process to actually figure it out.
And also for the specific paints, the colors vary, and there's infinite paint shades, as we've discovered. So it was a lot. So I thought maybe I should do pink cabinets in my office because you'd see it in the background of me on Zoom calls and stuff like that. And I think pink always looks good in the background. I really like pink as a color. I think it's a very fun color. And I also felt like it would be a good office space color because it'll keep you awake. It was pointed out to us that it may look like you've walked into a 12-year-old princess themed bedroom. And
by the time you add the rest of what you're planning to it,
maybe. And I don't know if I dislike that, but I was going for a little more elevated than that. And because we finally arrived after so many iterations on the North Sea green color, which I think is one of the Benjamin Moore colors of the year, or trending colors or something, because we got all these catalogs, we were like, hey, let's do it. You'll be able to kind of see the color of the cabinets in my office from the entryway. It'll be reflected through the window, but at a distance. So ended up deciding we're going to do teal in there too.
Same color as the entryway.
Yes.
Yep.
Have we already described my office cabinets and how they're going to work?
I don't think the final iteration. So yeah.
So the office cabinets are going to be a window seat to sit at, probably for the cat to sit at, with storage underneath, and then like essentially a wall full of cabinets where they're all enclosed. And they're big enough for my printer. My printer is not a tiny printer. It is a giant colored duplexing laser printer.
Yep.
So, it'll fit that in there. And that is kind of the basics. It's their full height.
Full height and all the way from the window to the wall.
Yeah.
So
one whole side of the room is like that. And then we're doing a sliding door for the closet that it abuts.
yeah, that was a recent change. Also, the door to the office moved slightly, but we'll talk about that more later as well.
Yeah.
But that caused it to eat up some of the closet space. And then once the closet was a little bit shorter, it made more sense to do a pocket door.
Yeah.
So that actually the window seat butts up against the pocket door and not an actual closet door.
Yeah.
The wall part of the pocket door.
Yeah. So you'll be able to actually sit with your back against a wall. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to fulfill all of my like Regency cottage core. I am Elizabeth Bennet in the woodland forest fairy. I mean, I think I'm going to be living my best life in this. I think it's going to be fun to decorate because it's not a boring box room, like at all. Yep. Nothing about it is going to be boring in box. And hopefully I'll have enough storage. The things I need to store are mainly inventory, which I currently don't have very much of because I've been eating it away slowly, and filming equipment and stationery supplies.
Stationery, stickers.
Yeah, that's inventory.
Oh, okay.
But also personal stickers.
Yep.
Paper.
Blank printer paper.
Oh, so much printer paper.
Mailing labels.
Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Stop saying words. I get stressed out every time I think about like how much stuff we need to store, but I keep trying to remind myself that it's so much more storage than we currently have.
Right.
And that like mostly I have fit all of my stuff in.
Mostly.
Except for bags.
It's
real bag issue in our house. So yeah, I think it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Okay. Moving on up. So
walk up the stairs, come up to the kitchen.
Yep.
And you see our kitchen on the right.
So our kitchen is U-shaped with a peninsula.
So it's like a G, actually.
G. It's a G-shaped kitchen.
We haven't changed our mind on this except for the when we actually went to go and look at the counter in the paint store with the paint chips.
Yep.
And that decision was when we switched over to the different blue teal.
Yeah. It's more blue.
It's a lot more blue.
It's a lot more blue. It's called Spellbound. It's also a Benjamin Moore product. I feel zero. It is the only decision we've made that I don't think there's any chance I'm going to regret it.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's a classic color. I think it works. It's from the list of things that work with the amazing counter that we have,
and this will be the base cabinet. So
yep. The upper cabinets are white.
Oh, and that was something that we did decide during this session was because we actually have a sample of the cabinet door. Yeah. Right here. This is the actual door of the cabinet that we would be using. And this, notice the 45-degree notch here.
It's important, like the instead of being 90 degrees where the little cabinet insets are, they're 45 degrees, which makes them way easier to clean and they get less dust.
You don't have a sharp corner to collect dust.
Yeah.
So what we did decide was, we had picked out this paint chip that was a white, that was the white that the countertop suggested.
Yes.
And I think it's a great color, great white. I'm a big fan of it. I think it works perfectly with the countertop.
There's like 80 whites. It's so, oh my God.
No, but that one's great. No complaints. But these cabinets come in this white out of the factory.
That doesn't cost any extra.
Exactly. So we don't have to pay for painting if we use this white, which is ever so slightly different,
but barely.
And that was like, we need to actually see this next to the countertop.
Yeah.
And it looks fine.
And it also had it's a cool toned white, which is what it was important. You don't want a warm toned white with a white counter that has blue veining in it, right?
Yeah,
then
you
it's
can
like
tell from the cream against the cream color of the wall here that this is a lot cooler.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we're gonna regret this. Basically not adding paint to the upper cabinet.
I have lost my argument because I was so tired by the time we got to this cabinets. I still really think that the tall cabinet should be the same color as the base cabinets.
And I still think it should match the upper cabinets white because they actually connect over the fridge. So it is like the upper cabinets come, then they go over the fridge, and then they come down. So
He's wrong.
If we did the teal,
wrong.
If we did the teal, then
You're forgetting that we have a black fridge, though.
I don't think that matters.
It does matter
Because the teal cabinets
it'll connect
would have
better.
To,
I still think I'm right.
I'm gonna in post when I'm working on this episode, I'm gonna do 2 versions of those cabinets in SketchUp and put them side by side.
Make sure the fridge is the right color, though, because that's part of it.
Okay. We will let our viewers decide.
Except it's probably gonna be too late by the time you see this, but
you're going to decide what I suggest anyway, so it's fine.
Still haven't won this one.
I will also say my mom, the cabinet designer, agreed that it should be white.
That is part of why I acquiesced. But I will say I've seen it the way I am in that, and it looks good in like pictures of professional designers and stuff like that. So I haven't made this up entirely in my head.
Okay.
Only a little bit in my head. But okay. Moving along.
So coming around, we've got the bench, which will be built
Yep.
in place, not by the cabinet people.
Yep. And we'll probably the real zest of that is going to come from the upholstery that we choose for the banquette seating.
So coming around that, it takes us to the wet bar.
And the wet bar is, we've said it several times, it is like a moody Mad Men, brass and noir marble kind of vision going on. Kind of Art Deco too. It makes sense in our heads.
Hopefully it makes sense out of our heads too.
And we are planning on having a soapstone counter for that, which is a blue-black. It's a natural, that's the colors it comes in, is bluish black.
And then we've got the tile backsplash of black, mostly black, with little brass accents.
It's black marble with brass accents.
Yep. And the cabinets that then are, we had originally actually thought we were going to do that black paint.
Yes.
Because we found a black in the paint store.
A blue-black in the paint store. So we were thinking that, but here's the thing. Every time we add a paint color, it gets expensive.
Yeah.
And then the painted wood has downsides to it, right? Like touch-ups are harder and blah, 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 blah. And, I thought maybe we just lean into wood here. So we went back and forth. We were trying out, there were so many woods in that box. We were trying out like some of the dark woods, whatever they might be. And then your mom kind of talked about this sort of composite wood that they have, which is like a semi-synthetic, semi-wood situation going on. I don't really know how to describe it.
I don't either.
It's really durable, though.
And she had samples of it that she actually brought over.
And it looked like wood in sample form. I am concerned that if you have a giant wall of it, it will not look as much like wood anymore.
Well, I think that this stuff has gotten a lot better from the printed wood that you have seen.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I was at jury duty, the courthouse, it has this, massive wood back where the judge sits, like massive wood wall of all these cabinets and fancy things. And it was, I was going out of my mind sitting there because it was printed. So the whole wall was just this like repeated wood pattern that you're just staring at the whole time.
Having a little meltdown?
Yeah.
Well.
But this I don't think the new stuff that's these kind of materials are at all the same. They're not like stamped out of a mold, right? So I think it'll be fine. The color that we picked is almost black. It's like a very, very dark black wood.
Yeah, it's like a almost black, brownish black.
Brownish, yeah.
It has less blue undertones than the paint we were thinking about.
Yep.
But it's much cheaper. It's
Yep.
going to be the cheapest of the options. So, and I think it'll still look good. It's still quality, but I keep trying to remind myself that we're choosing amongst custom cabinets. Like, the universe of what we're looking at is a lot better than like choosing between Home Depot and IKEA, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is no shade to either of those. Like, I've seen some gorgeous IKEA kitchens, but because we're already going with like a locally built custom cabinet, we're just gonna get a better base quality than you're gonna get on a flat pack.
Yep.
Anything. So I keep trying to remind myself that.
So this will be the same material for the base cabinets and the upper.
Yep.
And we did change slightly again the layout of the upper cabinets there, and finally got that dialed in with the appliance garage is the new addition in that corner.
We had this big thing of like, I was like, oh, we have all these things in the coffee bar that like kind of just look messy. Like our coffee maker, we spent a lot of money on it, but it's not beautiful. We looked at the beautiful one, but it doesn't have an automatic timer, and that was the insert picture of the beautiful coffee maker here. It's like a $500 coffee maker. It's ridiculous, but it is beautiful. Doesn't have an automatic timer though, which I feel like all coffee makers should have.
Yeah, and it also doesn't even have a hardwired switch where you can put it on a timer outlet.
Right.
So when the power comes up, you have to still push a button to start it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just wanted to hide our ugly stuff that's going to be over there, which is like our coffee maker, our kettle. Although I think we ended up deciding we'll just get the pretty kettle that we've wanted because our kettle is kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty black kettle that'll like look beautiful on it. So I think we're just going to get that kettle because our kettle is really on its last legs.
It is on its last legs.
But we're adding an appliance garage, but we had to do, I mean, this is the point at which I was starting to lose my mind because we were having to figure out like, can you pull it out and at what angle? Because there's a bench there. So like you can't like reach over the bench to get into the appliance garage. And we were like, can we pull it this way? What can we do? Is it going to be in the way of the sink? I was having a lot of issues. It was really stressful. But the espresso maker will be out, and which is pretty anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as pretty as anything else is. And then the kettle is going to be out.
Yeah. And then for the upper cabinets, we're going to get the cabinets built with a hollow doors, like, framed out with like a hollow bit. And then we can fill in that with something later.
Yeah.
So we might do frosted glass, or it'd be really cool to do like the intricate metal work mesh style thing.
There's also a possibility because it doesn't, we're not putting it there for protection. Like the glass isn't important. We may actually just do, how sometimes you see the laser cut wood, or like the wood mesh kind of in the front. We might laser cut. We might even be able to do this with the laser cutter that Aaron has, which is now his favorite toy, in front of the dishes. So we might be able to cut whatever pattern we want, and then the wood, and we'll insert it where the glass would get inserted because there's like a little divot for it. So I think we're going to be able to do that. And then we might even paint that metallic. So like we'll paint the wood as though it is brass, so it'll match the backsplashes. And so, and then we can do whatever pattern we want. So that's the design decisions there. At some point, we need to go to a slab yard and pick out this soapstone we keep claiming we're going to have. Because we also want to get a soapstone sink if possible, but that needs to happen soonish, I think. I don't know. I don't think you just go get a soapstone sink. I think someone needs to make it for us. So then coming around
the corner again to the bookshelf wall.
Okay, so these bookshelves we are going to make arched because I've just always wanted arched built-in bookshelves. These bookshelves are open and not terribly deep. They're only like book depth.
They're 12 inches now. We were able to add a bit of depth to that wall to let us have a 12-inch deep shelf.
So there's 3 of them, which I did not realize until we were on like hour 3. I thought there was only one all along.
I mean, it's like one wall, but it's being built as 3 separate
Yeah.
bookcases.
I thought it was only like this much bookshelf though, but it's a good, I think 36 inches of bookshelves, or no, more than that. That's 3 feet.
No, it's like 336 inch or something.
Okay.
It's like 9 feet wall.
9 feet of bookshelves.
Maybe 8, I don't remember.
And I went back. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, since every wall is a bookcase, are we ever going to be able to hang a picture in this house? But we were originally thinking painted, and we were going to do like a fun color there. The arches are going to be built on. So essentially, we're going to add arches as part of the finished carpentry, like over the bookshelves. So they're not built into the bookshelf.
Yep.
You just paint them the same color as the wall and it looks like they're built in. Everything's fine. We thought about teal, we thought about pink, we thought about black, we thought about white. We thought about unpainted wood so that we could paint it. We were told that there's a possibility it won't stick very well to that. And so, and we ended up deciding.
It was that same material that we're going to use for the wet bar, but in a light gray.
Yeah.
And the theory there is we don't want it to be a dark wall because it's part of the room that we want to feel more open on that side. But the same material will then connect it to the wet bar because it'll be made of the same stuff.
It's possible I'm going to wallpaper the back of it too.
Right, on the inside of the shelves. Yeah.
So it'll have a little pop of color in the back there. So there are no closets or cabinets in the karaoke room anymore. We literally took the closet out. So that room doesn't exist.
Nothing to worry about for built-ins there.
Now is the really stressful decision.
The bedroom closet. This is an operation. This is like the closet in the bedroom is currently a wall that just sticks out into the middle of the room. And we're going to put shelves on both sides to turn it into this sort of shelf contraption. And it is not a small amount of space. It is like, again, almost maybe, I think it's 7 feet or something long. And we're going to be doing both sides of it. So one side faces the bedroom side. The other side is like the hallway to the bathroom.
Yep. AKA my dressing room.
Yep.
/ laundry room. Dressing room makes it sound a lot fancier than it's going to be, but and the big thing is like our bedroom is not that big, so when you wake up in the bed, you like the wall of the closet,
it'll be right there.
Yep. And so we were like, should we do black, should we do white? I would like to clarify that at this point of making the decisions, I didn't know which way was up anymore.
This was like at 3 hours, 30 minutes into this project, we finally made it up to the bedroom.
And I was like, I didn't know what I wanted.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If we're going to spend the expense on custom cabinets, I didn't want to get like just plain white, like this kind of finish, because it looks like an IKEA cabinet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, at that point, why don't we just get an IKEA closet? If we're spending money for a custom closet, I want it to feel more up. I want us to be reminded of why we spared the expense, right?
Mm-hmm. Didn't spare the expense.
Didn't spare the expense. And frankly, I was just, I don't know. I kind of lost my brain at that point. Your dad was sitting over here advocating heavily for everything being wood.
Yeah.
He's like, get cherry. And we were like, we can't afford cherry. Oh yeah. Also, all of the woods have a different price. So and they all have different stains and everything. What were you advocating for?
I don't even remember at this point. Honestly,
I know.
I think I was pretty on board with a painted, like a color of some sort. I don't remember if I had a strong. I think we were going between a pink and a teal.
Yeah.
And I was like pretty on board with that. And I was also didn't want to do. I wasn't a big fan of the wood, of just a wood there.
Yeah.
But you were really pushing hard for a wood, and we actually spent quite a while like going back and forth on that and found a wood that I do like.
Yes.
And it's like a light colored, very light wood, much lighter than these chairs. And I like that wood. And that was sort of like how we came to a compromise on that.
But I don't know if I feel the same way that I did at that point. I was really hungry.
You also told me later that on the bike home, you talked yourself out of being that adamant about the wood. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I already, well, after I'd had ramen.
after, yeah. So the current plan is that light colored wood.
However,
It's not too late currently
to
to
change,
change it, but it will be too late very soon.
in like a
In,
day
like,
or two.
yeah.
I still kind of want pink. And I think we found a pink that we both like.
Mhm.
And our thought was that we could do like a pink and a gray for the bedroom. Like those are two like calming colors. We both like those colors a lot.
And we did find a pink at the paint store that we like.
Yeah.
So
But why did we get talked out of painted? Because it was more expensive?
I think because it's more expensive and because you really wanted wood.
Well, I wanted wood because the alternative I was being presented was that fake wood. That's what we had ended up. We had transitioned from the painted wood into the fake wood. And then I was like, no, we should get the real wood.
Okay. I think maybe it wasn't a very well thought out series of arguments being made at that point in the evening.
By everyone.
By everyone.
Except your dad,
Yeah.
who never changed his
Yeah.
stance, which was just get wood,
Yeah.
get cherry. He likes a good wood, and I do understand. Like, pretty wood is pretty. I'm looking beyond the camera because there's a lot of really pretty wood in here.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and we were trying to compare it against the flooring, but we haven't actually picked our flooring yet.
Oh, right.
Because the flooring that we liked, it turns out we can't get.
Yep.
And
Oh, that was another one of the things I was trying to make the argument for was we're set on the wood, the dark gray and light gray wood for the living room and the wet bar.
yeah,
So that decision is now like locked in, or will literally be locked in a couple of days, but we're fine with it.
yeah.
That means because we know we're going to have to find a floor that works with the black and the gray, if we find a cabinet color that works with the black and the gray, it will probably also work with whatever floor we pick, which we don't know what it is yet. So rather than introducing a new color, as long as we find something that works with the black and the gray, it should be okay.
I think we should do pink. I'm now changing my mind
Right now?
right now.
Okay.
I think it's been a process.
Yeah. I'm pretty on board with the pink still, I think.
We need to know if it's hundreds more dollars to do the pink or thousands more dollars to do the pink. That's what I need to know.
I think if it's like $3,000 more to do pink instead of wood, maybe it's not worth $3,000.
Maybe my tipping point. Yeah.
But if it's like $600, yeah, probably worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spending that much on getting my bike overhauled,
Right.
which is going to last less time than these cabinets, I hope.
Yeah. So I guess we're leaving another dangling end in this episode.
Technically, we have already told your mom that we're doing the bisque alder.
Yep.
Is what we picked.
But we're like not actually too late to change it. Right now.
Yeah. As of filming.
As of
probably by
filming.
posting, we will have had to make the decision.
Yep.
So if we've decided, we will insert it on the screen before editing. But
okay.
if not, you're just going to have to say in the comments what you think we did.
So let's present our final decision as if we already know what has been made, and we will fill it in here. So that takes us to the end of the cabinets because there are no cabinets going on the roof.
Who's late this week?
I think the plumbing, because we were late with plumbing a while ago and like had to, put a list together of all the toilets and showers and stuff so that they can do the drain rough-in.
Which they already did some of it wrong because we changed the frame. But
Well, that's a different story. But then I had a conversation with the plumbing guy who's going to buy all the fixtures, and he didn't quite understand the scope of the project. I think because he doesn't have the plans in front of him, and didn't quite understand that there are 6 bathrooms and in 3 different units, and how we care about thinking about each of them in very different ways. So we're fixing that up, and haven't still yet placed the order for the plumbing.
Who needs toilets?
Yep.
I do need my bathtub, though.
Yep.
The builder is trying very hard to talk me out of the cast iron bathtub, and I think I may be annoying as fuck. So
He just doesn't want to carry it up the stairs, does he?
I don't think so. Well, the floor is reinforced for a cast iron bathtub, right?
Good question.
Maybe I am gonna have to be talked out of this.
Interesting point.
What we didn't know, we needed to know.
Yep. Because I know we've been planning for the hot tub, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's like the little square that's
Yeah.
engineered to support 3,000 pounds of filled weight.
No. Oh no.
But I don't. We've had we've had a tub in the plans, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been a cast iron tub.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to do something different to the floor there. Well, we'll find out soon. So I guess that's it for this week.
Is there a word of the week?
Oh,
I think it was bisque alder.
bisque alder. I'll take it.
That is the stain color for the wood that we picked.
That we might unpick.
Oops.
Okay.
Till next time.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share with your friends to talk them out of building a triplex.
There we go.